My name was Salmon, like the fish. First name Susie. I was 14 when I was murdered on December 6, 1973. In newspaper photos of missing girls from the 70s, most looked like me, white girls with mousy brown hair. This was before kids of all races and genders started appearing on milk cartons or in the Daily Mail. It was still back when people believed things like that didn't happen. Today I'm going to be reviewing The Lively Bones by Alice Sebold. This is a really unique novel, and I think the uniqueness really made me want to read it and really kind of captured me. What's so unique about this novel is that it's actually narrated from a 14-year-old girl's perspective, Susie, who is murdered, and she narrates it from heaven. Well, in fact, it's not heaven, it's this kind of in-between world, and she's almost stuck in this perfect place. The idea that Sue's stuck in a perfect world was always something that really interested me in this novel, because she is stuck in her own version of heaven, and this idea that if we are truly stuck in this ideal world, for me that would maybe be horrible. I don't know, I'd get very bored, I think it would be the same, and very lonely, and I really like that at the beginning, that kind of theme of perfectness, or being trapped, or being or anything like that, is introduced in the epigraph of this novel. I really love epigraphs, I love them. Honestly, any book that has a really good epigraph, I'm just going to love. Inside the snow globe on my father's desk, there was a penguin wearing a red and white striped scarf. When I was little, my father would pull me into his lap and reach for the snow globe. He would turn it over, letting all the snow collect on top, then quickly invert it. The two of us watched the snow fall gently around the penguin. The penguin was alone in there, I thought, and I was worried for him. When I told my father this, he said, "Don't worry, Susie. He has a nice life. He's trapped in a perfect world." From heaven, she watches over her family, guides them to bring justice to find her murderer, and also watches the kind of her family falling apart and deal with their grief. The Lovely Bones are the connections between the family and how these connections can grow and break apart and come together because of the tragedy that has happened to them. The characters in this novel made this novel for me. The characters of the mother and father and the change in the relationship after Susie dies. Susie watching her sister grow up and become a young woman. I really enjoyed especially the majority of this book, but I think towards the end there were some weird things that obviously before Susie died, she fell in love with a young boy, and she feels like she has some unfinished business that she wants to kind of do and meet him and stuff, and I'll leave that for you to read. But it's kind of a bit weird, and I think it didn't ruin the ending for me. I was a bit like, okay, a bit too, maybe a step too far, or just didn't fit in with the rest of the novel. It's also an adaptation of this novel by Peter Jackson, who, one is an incredible director anyway, but I really enjoyed the adaptation of this novel. I actually watched the film before I read the novel, so maybe I shouldn't have done that because I knew the story, but there are differences within the novel and the film. Of course, it's what, like that long. I really felt that they captured the spirit and the heart of the novel, which I think at the end of the day, I think that's all a director really wants, because when you make a film, you have to accept it as a different art form. It's not going to be exactly the same as a book, because why would you want to film then and just read the book? I really enjoyed The Lovely Bones. There were little bits that I was, at the end, wasn't too keen on, but overall it was really good novel. The writing style was good, the characters and the character development was amazing. Really enjoyed it, and I would also really check out the film as well. So another positive book recommendation from me.